Mehdi is an industry veteran. I want to say started in telco, and hence connections probably mean a lot in that context, and then moved into the CPG world, came to this region, and is now leading probably one of the biggest beauty powerhouses that are globally. Mehdi, the CMO of L'Oreal Middle East. At the same time, I just realized that he's a passionate sneaker head, and I was looking at his shoes and couldn't kind of disregard that. But at the same time, avid athlete and cyclist, and perhaps amongst the many knowledgeable people about what happens in the digital space across CPG and specifically in beauty. So the pressure is on, Mehdi.
Wow.
Thank you for being with us.
Thank you, Antoine.
Obviously, there's a couple of things that I want to touch upon, probably out of curiosity, personally, but as well kind of nurturing a bit of curiosity across our audience here. I think Dina started us off and actually mentioning, kind of talking about a relationship a little bit. So I think I've known Mehdi for, I want to say, 7, 8 years, maybe.
Yes.
And it happened through my wife, by the way. So they used to work at the same company. There's nothing dodgy in it. It was simply the natural thing that happens as colleagues. And since then, one of the most important things that I realized that, relationship nurture over time. And one of the things I really want to kind of probe on as an interesting segue is the conversation that Jed and Dina were talking about around trust, right, and relationships, and how brands can forge trust with their consumers. So if we can start in an area where you would tell us a bit more about your perspective of how important it is to build trust for brands with consumers, and what does that mean for you at L'Oreal?
Okay, I'm gonna need probably like 2 seconds just to come up with this super nice intro. Thank you so much, Antoine, and thank you to the Snap team. So good to be back to this kind of gatherings, events, see so many familiar faces and partners as well in the room. And I think I can start with when you called me and you asked, you know what, we have this amazing, cool session. It wasn't that cool, it's hot, right? So I trusted you, but yeah, you did, I think on the weather side, the weather forecast probably is something, it's the only thing you should check next time. No, joking. So joke aside, I think on the trust level, and it's super relevant for me to talk about it because we just revealed few weeks ago, months ago, our new global program that we have called Trust is the New Love. It's a big statement, right? Trust is the new love. And like trust is, you always trust something, you trust someone. It always goes with the other. And I think what's really interesting about trust is the fact that it takes time to build trust. Like exactly in relationships, like you cannot. I trust you because I've knew before, and I think it's the same in our personal lives. And when it comes to brands, it's the same. Like no one can build trust in like few weeks, after a few campaigns, after a few I don't know, product launches, etc. So it matters over time. And when it happens, it stays. You can really see it. And I think the best stress test to trust was COVID, obviously. And I mean, like I think what we have seen, at least on beauty, is that big brands were more resilient, and we were able to navigate the crisis in the best way. I saw Zedi as well around, I don't know where it is. Like we always have these discussions about stocks and investments, bitcoins, etc. But I would just say that yes, if you have some money left, you could definitely buy some L'Oreal shares because we have yeah, I see him here. He's coming back. So we have doubled our value shares in less than 2 years, and no one honestly would have thought that beauty. I mean, like no one was using makeup anymore, no one going outside, no one using fragrances, etc. Like the beauty business would have been as resilient, right? And I think it's back to the fact that we have like a portfolio of brands that have been there for a long time, and we managed to build this trust together. Now on the other side, because there's always another side. Obviously. It's on the other side, like trust, when you lose trust, it's very difficult to bring it back. I think Shakespeare said once that never trust someone who broke faith once. And I think it's really, again, back to brands. Like if you do something wrong, it's really difficult to get consumers back, like be it on privacy, on product quality, on safety, or also just on where you stand. So yeah, I think honestly the trust topic is very interesting, and I think takes us also to a very different conversation from the usual marketing language, this conversation circles where we just focus on ourselves, on our brands. Like, yeah, trust is take you a little bit to like I would say like a more purposeful conversation. And I mean, I can just add one thing. I think that's also super interesting. And I mean, you know, like sometimes, like I think the ultimate thing we say is like you say like, okay, in God we trust, right? That's like the maximum for people, believers who have faith, and it means that you accept anything, like be it the good things, bad things, a challenge. I think that's as well something I feel like is super interesting, because when you build trust, you can achieve a lot of things. You can achieve transformation. Consumers will be more receptive to your new ideas, new ways of communication, new touch points, etc. Because they know that, oh, there's something, this brand is something I can trust. And I think it's as well the same on the leadership side. Like, so you said, I feel old. I had different teams and amazing teams all the time. Some of them are here texting now as we speak, right? But I think when you have the trust of your team as well, like you can really take them where you want, because they know that you care for them. So I think honestly, the trust for me is, and I was very happy when I saw the introduction from Dina, and it's super relevant. When you have trust, you can achieve wonders. But yes, you need to be careful not to lose it.
Just one caveat, and some points that Mehdi said, this is not financial advice, buying L'Oreal shares, but do buy commercials on Snapchat.
Go to Zerdi for financial advice.
but this said, I think there's a very interesting point around kind of trust and giving consumers the space to actually engage in this relationship, to actually have control. And now, like, I really want to double down on the privacy topic, if I may. One of the things that obviously, you know, you guys at L'Oreal have weathered kind of the pandemic. We've probably, most of us, weathered it, but you're coming out with, you know, substantial financial gains and a good business performance. And now there's kind of another interesting kind of, I would say, development that's happening within the digital world. Whenever we're talking about privacy, and whenever we're talking about giving control back to users and consumers and to people. So I'd love to kind of hear from you. So what role does privacy play today? Whenever you look at your consumers, whenever you look at across the businesses that you have, what does privacy play in terms of a role for consumers? And at the same time, how does this impact your business?
Okay, so I think the very first thing, and it was the most difficult thing, probably again for a lot of people in the room, myself, the industry, I would say in general, it doesn't matter like what side of the industry you work in, is to acknowledge that we lost control. I think, like, just like human, you know, like you fight changes in general. I remember like 10 years ago, we'd have the discussion about digital and TV, and like maybe a few years ago, like discussions about should you invest for awareness or for conversion, like any kind of discussion. I think privacy is the same. Like we all thought that we will stay in control and we can somehow force people to see us, to look at us, to discuss with us. But we lost it. It's done. It's gone. And I think, yes, I think that's the very first thing you have to do, somehow acknowledge. And I think once it's, as every challenge in life, when you go after the denial phase, you can really like start building like good strategies. And I think so. I think the first strategy is very simple: consent. Like, you never impose on someone something. If the consumer is not happy, doesn't want to see you, doesn't want to talk to you at some point of time, or like hear something, you need to respect that. I think that's really also, like for us as L'Oreal, the very first fundamental that we are always keeping in mind, that do we have consent for this? Yes, then we can proceed. I think the second thing is obviously with all the changes we had, and if we want to be a little more specific, so iOS 14, I think just also created like a whole like a new new like reinforced a little bit what I just said, because it's just in the palm of your hands today. Like, so you can block anyone, you can block any brand, and I don't know, like anyone in the room have like when you have the opt-in on tracking on any of the social platforms. I don't know. No one is accepting. I don't. Like even if when I go back to the office, then it's my biggest the biggest challenge I have is like how to face that. But yes, I think no one wants to be tracked. So that's the first thing. So you see how you can really make sure that you protect your privacy, and then I think the second thing is we all thought as well that, oh, they are blocking us here. We're gonna go from the other side, because market is always very smart, you know. We're gonna go for first-party data. We're gonna just collect emails and them, and then that's gonna be even better. But no, like, okay, I was saying you can create like fake email, like or fake or like temporary email. Now it's super easy to do, and you can also block any signal out of your email, so no one will know when you opened, what did you click, what did you have done, etc. So I think it's just happening, and then for me, what's super important is to create value. So when you create value, and I think you discussed this on the context side, when you create value in the right value in the right context, you have attention, and you can hack the attention. Right? So that's what Jed said. You can hack attention, and can I give a personal example?
Please do.
Okay, perfect. Just go. I'm not talking a lot about L'Oreal today, but you mentioned that yes, I love cycling. I have this obsession with triathlon, this obsession with my races, my performance. So if I block brands and like some brands, there's some other brands, some other experiences that I'm more happy to share my data. So I don't know, like if anyone have a Whoop or have tried Whoop, or like, yeah, so some people, yes. So these guys, they track exactly everything you do, like the whole day, 20 nights as well. And every morning I have to answer, like I take 5 minutes to answer questions about like what did I had, what was my dinner, my lunch, what time I went to bed, did I watch TV, not, how long I stayed in front of my computer, even very personal details that I will not be able to reveal today, but you can guess. So, because this is how the algorithm will work in a way to give you the best, to compute the best your recovery, and say, okay, you recovered, you didn't recover, you need to sleep more, you need to change this habit, etc. So I'm sharing all this data. I'm fine with it, you know, like I'm like, that's something I'm comfortable doing, because I see the value in every day, and I'm like, okay, I can do it. But of course, if you just ask me, like, you give me like a $5 discount or like a 50 dirham discount to give you my email, hell no, I'm not gonna give it. Or I'm gonna give you like a fake one, or the one that I never check. So how to change this and be able to create value is, I think, an important discussion. And I can give a L'Oreal example just to stay a little bit corporately friendly, right? So we have acquired at L'Oreal, a few years ago Modiface, which is an AR, VR startup based in Toronto, in Canada. So you are a camera app. We are also, it's very uncommon that as a beauty, we are also investing heavily on AR and camera. And because we simply want to create as well beauty augmented by technology, where you can as well from your phone do virtual try-ons on your makeup, your hair, color. You can also do like a skin diagnosis, and then you will get like almost 90% accurate results as if you went to a dermatologist. And you get like a recommendation on the routine, and then you can do whatever you want. So this is the kind of value we would like to create, the experience we would like to replicate, rather than just like going on data acquisition campaigns to get emails and signals and cookies and whatever. No, that's I don't know if I answered the question. But,
no, you did. I think like from what I've gathered, as long as there's a value exchange, the power of control gives you kind of a more valuable experience with your consumers, and I think that's quite important. And I love the hint towards, you know, investing in AR gives you kind of the space to be providing these experiences to consumers, so that eventually you're managing kind of how a consumer in control is probably very good for your business. So I really appreciate the answer. I think reflecting back to 2021, and actually like some of the great work that my peers have presented today, we're quite kind of, we've seen businesses kind of take control of their brands and use the power of our platform to actually drive, I want to say, results within a privacy-centric app such as ours, right? And whenever you start seeing kind of us helping brands leverage the power of privacy, one question that always comes to mind, especially that we're coming with many changes that are probably upcoming by end of year. We're listening to other platforms are saying around browsers becoming cookieless and the tracking is going away. How do you see really the future with kind of the complete obliteration of the cookie? And I understand that this poses a challenge to marketeers, but is this a rewarding journey on the long run for businesses?
Yeah, I think it is. I'm gonna go a little bit the other way and not maybe give the answer you would expect, but I think it's like having cookies, like going into a cookieless world is probably one of the best things that gonna happen to all of us together, and because we're just gonna stop all this laziness marketing that we went to altogether, which is like if someone search something, we just like target, retarget, retarget again, till like we are done. Then it doesn't matter what frequency. All frequencies were good. Like we want to start with 3, 5, 6. I think we're just gonna go back to something a little bit more vintage. Yeah, you said like I love sneakers, I love vintage things. So going back to the old marketing where you have to really like think a lot about what you just mentioned about context, relevance, value, and creating the right moments to connect with the brands. So I think that's good. The only challenge that I see, of course, is we have a lot of discussions with my agency partners as well, and that we might lose also a little bit of tracking and measurement, and I think that's what's a bit annoying, to be honest, because what I don't miss from the old world is the spray and pray kind of do a TVC 30 seconds and inshallah, the market shares are gonna go all right after 2 months. So that's not something I miss a lot. So I think the only part in the cookieless part that I'm not comfortable with, and we haven't found, like there's few solutions, few alternatives that we're working hard together on our brands. But yeah, if we crack the measurement, if we're able just to go back to something more data-driven marketing where we know how to navigate our investments, that would be great. I think Aja knows. I always say the same. If you spend $1 and you cannot measure it, don't spend it. Yes, we don't spend if we don't know what we're doing. So that's the only issue I see. But on the other side, from a strategy point of view, from a more like a creative point of view, we're gonna go back to, I think, better days where we don't have just to smash and seed the content, basic content.
If I just like explore one topic further, I think L'Oreal, amongst many other companies in this region, have really developed their online transaction infrastructures, bringing in some B2C brands, really relying on e-commerce as the foundation of a big chunk of their volumes and business performance. One thing that always comes to mind, and these are based on probably prior conversations that we've had together, is people might discover brands in a certain context and transact in another context, right? People might discover brands offline and transact in an online world, or vice versa, or the same. But I'd love you to shed light from your own experience. Is it any different in this region? How do people, like you're probably in one of the biggest markets in this region, in Saudi Arabia, how are people different than what we see elsewhere when it comes to such behavior?
I think for whoever is working on Saudi, we would say like it's very different, completely different. Yes, I think that's also the biggest topic I discuss with my boss every day about explaining him that consumers are liquid today, so you can even if you do like the best job on your media, on your be it like on your upper funnel, lower funnel, on your consideration, etc., that the consumer might transact in something completely different, somewhere completely different in offline most of the time. So, and I was very happy because we got like a very like just they have a recent study that we just finished that is brings shades lights on this, answers a little bit this question. So I think the number was really shocking for me because still we are it was 70% of consumers who are browsing online on an e-com platform will finish transacting offline. So that's big. That's big because it's not normal. Like in Europe, people don't have the time to spend time browsing, doing the whole funnel, and then go into checkout and then stop, and then take their car, go to the mall and buy the same product. I mean, you cannot really explain it from a convenience, from a consumer journey point of view, but it is the case. Now, when you want to understand, dig deeper a little bit to know why, of course, there's like some very clear answers. One is credit cards. In Saudi, it's still not that, like penetration is not what we think. So solutions are there, like telcos, banks have done a good job. You have digital cards. Anyone can get a card, but not everyone have the right, enough funding or like consistent funding to create, like have a bank account. So people will rely on the bank account of the house boss. Or I don't know how we can call this, but like to do the transaction, they will not be able. Also, like from a privacy point of view, happy to do it. So cash on delivery is still high in the region, and I think also in terms of deliveries, like some platforms are doing better. Of course, they deliver same day or next day, but most of in the like rural areas in Saudi, you need still to wait 5 days to get, like 4 or 5 days to get your product, which is not in 22 not exactly what you expect. So people will still want to go do like the whole thing experience and then go to the mall. And then I think the last part is also the catalog, which is not like, I would say, just the maturity overall of the experience that you get online, be it on pure plays or also on brand sites, just to be very fair to everyone. So yeah, I think that's for me very interesting. And then the other shocking info that I've seen as well, we discussed with the team, is you have still 70% approximately of people shopping cross-border e-commerce. So it's like, of course, a pity for all of us because we're based here. We want the value of the Middle East to stay in the Middle East, like the content of the Middle East to be created in the Middle East. So it's of course, we're not very happy to see like consumers ordering from abroad, and that's back again to pricing, to prices, to other things. So this is where the e-com environment is not still there, but I think potential is big. And for us as L'Oreal, honestly, we are very believers of this cause, and we're very clear about ambition. We project that in the next 4 or 5 years, 50% of our turnover will be online. So we're building the capabilities right now for it, and we're doing everything to get as fast as possible to this 50%.
No, that's an amazing journey, and we're glad to be a part of it, I would
Honestly,
say.
if I can just give credit as well to you, to the Snap team, and also like the L'Oreal teams and everyone who contributed. That Snap was really like a big support to us, especially in the COVID. Like when we had the e-com was the only life-saving business line we had, and we had you're not the cheapest platform, I have to say, but you bring
most rewarding, maybe.
but very rewarding, yes. But you definitely brought a lot of value, and I think we have managed really to perform super well on our brand sites, but also with other retailers, pure players. I think Snap was if not wrong, the one of the best contributors to our e-com journey over the last 2 years. So thank you for that.
We didn't prep for that, by the way.
No, it's not paid. It's not paid. Paid. I get my check on the background.
and one of the things that I'll gladly mention once Raja and the team kind of give us the go ahead is I'll probably share with all of you some of the great work that we've done last year with L'Oreal, where we've actually highlighted how the power of the platform can actually deliver on performance and e-commerce and incrementally to other platforms. But I'll take this opportunity just to ask one last question,
sure.
Right? I know that everyone.
I'm sorry I was longer.
No, you're perfect. At least for me, you're perfect. I hope the audience is enjoying as well the answers. But like, there's a lot of insights in what you're sharing around, the L'Oreal experience. I think just closing in with, we have esteemed media partners here, publishers, content creators, advertisers that are conscious as well of what does it mean for an app such as ours to really think about our community and the safety of our community whenever we are curating content. I think we're probably one of the only players when we start thinking about instant messaging platforms, social platforms that really curate every piece of content that appears on the platform. And I just want to get your thoughts on that principle and how valuable this can be for brands. The power of quality over quantity,
Yes.
the power of advertising and engaging with consumers within a premium space where misinformation, disinformation, harmful and hateful content is not there. What does that mean for your business?
It means everything. I think there's red line, like there's one red line probably. Like everything else we can discuss, but brand safety is the only non-negotiable thing. So for our 25 brands, and as a portfolio, I think the only thing, you know, the value of each brand and how much time it took, as I told you, to build trust, to make sure that we are in the consideration. We are in every household. Like I have another number that's very nice. So discovered that with our brands, we are reaching more than 90% of the households in the region, which is huge. So it means that honestly, the only thing I will never compromise on my brands and the team and everyone, all partners are helping us to do that is really to be in an unsafe environment. I think that's first of all for our business, for our brands, and making sure that for the next 100 years, the brands are still having exactly the same trust. Now, on the other side, I think also as a company, as part of our responsibility and our purpose, that we have also revealed few months ago. The statement is we want to be create the beauty that moves the world. And if you want to move the world, you want to be really picking on the right topics for consumers, be it like on sustainability, on safety, be it also on making sure to create like a better world. And I will also never give $1 to any like whatever platform or space where you cannot ensure that your brand safety is good, because by giving this $1, you make the phenomena even bigger, and then the impact on your world, on your family, kids, on your entourage, even worse. So I think we have like a global responsibility and like a personal responsibility. I just want to make sure as well that the little impact that I can have in that we take the right decisions to make this world just a little bit better if we can. So whatever unsafe, we pass. Yeah, that's.
No, thank you for the insightful answers as well. No, it's really good to kind of have practical conversations around big topics that are shared on slides, because I think at times we think that the task is big, but unless we start taking like these small steps towards whatever challenges are coming our way, that's the only way we can understand how impactful we can be. Thank you everyone for attending. Thank you, Mehdi, for joining us.